Your AI agent is wired correctly. Tools, memory, guardrails, all of it. And it's still wrong in production. That's not a model problem. It's a context problem. And harness engineering, as most teams practice it, doesn't solve it. We've watched teams spend months building solid agent orchestration, the right frameworks, careful evals, clean tool routing. And then they hit production and discover the agent is confidently answering with last quarter's revenue definition. The wiring was fine, the ground underneath it wasn't. There's a framing that's gained real traction in the past year. Agent equals model plus harness. The harness is everything that wraps the model: guides, sensors, memory, orchestration, and constraints. It's useful but incomplete in a way that causes real production failures. Teams are building the harness, investing in orchestration frameworks, tool routing, guardrails, and eval systems. But agents are still halting, hallucinating, or returning answers that are technically fluent and operationally wrong. The failure is in what the wiring reads from. The conventional approach to harness engineering focuses on the control layer. Which tools does the agent have access to? How are those tools chained? What guardrails constrain the output? How do sensors detect failure? This is important work. Orchestration and evals matter. Rate limiting, retry logic, memory management, all of it matters. The approach fails because it assumes something exists that usually doesn't: governed, machine readable, semantically consistent context underneath the harness. Teams treat context as a detail inside the harness, a prompt to refine, a few metadata fields to pass. And that works until the agent hits a question where revenue means three different things depending on which team defined it, or where the table it's reading from was last certified before a fiscal calendar change, or where the lineage it's tracing stops 3 hops short of the actual source. If the harness is reading from bad ground, no amount of orchestration will fix it. Here's the reframe. The governed context layer is not a component inside the harness. It's the substrate the harness reads from. Those are architecturally different things, and treating them as the same thing is where most production agent failures originate. Think about what an agent needs to answer a business question correctly. Which data is trusted and which is stale? What revenue means in this organization, not in general, but specifically. Details like which fiscal calendar, which exclusions, and which team's definition takes precedence. It needs to know who's asking, because the right answer for a finance analyst is not the same as the right answer for a regional sales manager. It needs business rules that were never written into the schemas, the institutional knowledge that a 20-year employee carries around and that no prompt can substitute for. That's 4 distinct layers of context. Most harness implementations address the first one: which tables, which columns, at best. The other 3 are where production agents fail. The reason this matters structurally is that you can't fix a missing context layer by improving your orchestration. You can make the harness more sophisticated, but a more sophisticated harness reading from ambiguous or stale context produces more sophisticated wrong answers. The leverage isn't the harness. The leverage is in making the substrate reliable. Atlan functions as the governed context substrate that production agent systems have been assuming exists, the layer beneath the harness that guides and sensors read from. The foundation is the enterprise data graph, metadata drawn from across the stack: column level lineage, query history, BI semantics, business glossary, data quality signals, classification tags, held in a single active graph that updates as the environment changes, not on a documentation schedule. On top of that, Context Engineering Studio lets teams build domain scope context repositories, version certified packages of semantic meaning, metric definitions, business logic, synonym mappings, verified question answer pairs. Those packages deploy to AI surfaces including Snowflake, Cortex, Analyst, and Databricks Genie from a single YAML definition. The repository goes through a lifecycle of draft, active or certified, archived, and changes require recertification before they reach production. That's governed context in practice. And because the context is held centrally, it's reusable. When 5 agents across 5 different tools all need to know what revenue means in this organization, they read from the same certified definition, not from 5 separate prompt configurations that drift apart the moment the definition changes. This means teams stop rebuilding context from scratch for every agent. They build it once, certify it, and make it available to every surface that needs it. Most production failures with agentic AI aren't caused by bad models or orchestration. They're caused by a layer underneath the harness, governed, machine readable, semantically consistent context that was never built. Harness engineering is real and impactful, but it's only solving the outer layer of the problem. When teams stop treating context as a feature inside the harness and start treating it as shared infrastructure, built once, certified, and trusted by every agent, copilot, and analytics experience that reads from it, the harness actually works. So, the harness is not the model, and governed context is not a component inside the harness. It's what the harness reads from. But once that substrate exists, how do you actually certify it? How do you know when context is ready for production? That's what we cover next.